Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Joy Pretty, but you can call me Joy. So today, most of my followers said I should watch some scary videos. So I'm going to be doing a review of the scary video with you. I'm going to be watching this with you. Please don't watch this thing at night too. You understand? So we are going to be taking a short break and we're back again. Alright guys, I'm back. So let's just move to the video. So I'm scared, like really scared. So because I don't know what I'm going to see on this video. You know, I'm Africa. We are not scared. Okay, let's move. Okay, no problem. Oops. Even the noise.
2 years ago, when I was 19 back then, we just moved to a new house. It was newly built, and although it's not that big size, but at least we were satisfied that we have our own house.
They look normal.
One day it was on a rainy night, and I was walking alone in the dark street. Because it was almost midnight, there were no vehicles at all at the time. I was returning home from my friend's house nearby, where it was her birthday on that day. While I was walking, I felt like someone was behind following me. However, when I looked back, there was just an empty street. I felt strange, but I was feeling relieved because I was already in front of our main door. Then the incident suddenly happened. As I tried to grab a key in my purse, a stranger held on my wrist. It was a guy, and he definitely didn't look normal at all. He had a big grin on his face, and his big and red eyes are bulging out. When I looked around, there was no one else on the street. Considering it was in the middle of the night, it was no wonder. I got panicked. I grabbed my wrist and tried to kick him, screaming out. Then he laughed and let go of me, and I banged on the door and shouted as loud as I could, "Help! Help me! Open the door!" My dad quickly opened the door. Still crying, I shouted and explained what just had happened, but when I looked back, there was no one there.
A ghost.
I couldn't sleep at all that night. The morning after that night, I was trying to calm down myself just watching TV. There was a news about a murder case. The victim was a girl, the same as my age, and the police just found her body in front of her house's main door. Also, her wrist was cut by some sharp thing. The blood was all over her face, and there was a note behind it. She didn't try to fight back, so I killed her. It was written like this with a smiley face.
What?
My heart dropped, that is for sure. It must be the same guy who I met yesterday. What if I didn't resist? What if I didn't shout a scream for help? And what if no one opened the door? It is said to be the man is still wanted. To tell the truth, I just don't want to meet that guy in my neighborhood. Never, ever again.
Now because of you, where I get the goosebumps all over. This feeling got me falling. It's how the song is. It gets that it's something they do me for body. Oh, le 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 le. Hey, hey. I'm not actually scared, but can you imagine? For me, it was not scared though. So guys, you see, I'm not scared of this video. I'm not scared. Okay. Let's move to the other video.
Growing up, my younger sister Julie and I were made aware by our parents that we came from a very prominent Irish family, the Gallimores. Although our last name was not the typical Irish name like O'Reilly, O'Connell, McGregor, or McIntyre, it was still known and feared widely throughout Ireland. Whenever we asked why our family was feared, our parents would quickly change the subject. Aside from that, we were constantly told stories from Irish folklore to pass the time. One tale in particular used to frighten us, that of the Banshee. For those who do not know, the Banshee is the most feared entity in all of Ireland, known worldwide for the terror she strikes in people. All families in Ireland have a banshee tied to them at birth. She was originally a fairy who would sing the funeral songs of the family when someone passed away. Over time, though, her singing became sadder, more intense. Until finally, it became mournful, crying wails. The banshee began to feel her family's pain, and over time that pain twisted her once lithe body into a gaunt and lifeless spirit. Her beautiful red hair turned white, and her green eyes turned black and bloodshot from eternal crying. Her final change was the most fearsome of all. Her magnificent singing voice had now become a horrendous, blood-curdling scream. She was shunned by her family, and she cursed them to be forever followed wherever they went by her. And when a loved one's death was imminent, the family would hear her screams. Those doomed to die would hear the banshee and would also see her at the very moment they drew their last breath. This tale haunted my sister and me from the moment we heard it. Were we doomed to see the banshee and hear her cries too, since our family was Irish? Our father received a letter in the mail informing him that he had inherited the family estate, including the majestic, sprawling Gallimore Castle, as the last native Irish member of the family had passed away. To claim the inheritance, our family had to live in the castle for a year. Upon receiving this news, our parents sold our home in America, and we moved to our new home, Gallimore Castle.
Gallimore Castle.
When the cab and moving truck pulled up to the castle, I started getting chills. The large stone facade looked like every castle from every old horror movie I'd ever seen. As the servants helped us unpack our belongings and we began to settle into our new home, Julie and I went exploring. The corridors were decorated with lavish paintings portraying beautiful landscapes and the family coat of arms. There were even portraits of various family members from centuries past. However, there was one portrait that looked as though it had been shredded by some creature. As we stared at it, we could make out what looked like a little girl's shape. Suddenly, I heard a piercing scream, almost as if a little girl was in pain. Julie was missing. Looking around, I noticed that there was a doorway that had opened up beneath the portrait of the little girl. Peering in, I saw Julie standing inside what appeared to be a girl's playroom. She was staring at herself in a mirror. What I saw staring back at her in the mirror was horrifying. It appeared to be the girl, but she now had snow-white hair and black, bloodshot eyes. As I stared at Julie, watching this spirit in the mirror, its face contorted, and a long, blood-curdling shriek emanated. At the same time, Julie's eyes in the reflection turned pitch black. I quickly grabbed her arm and ran as quickly as possible out to our parents.
You have sense.
When we finally found them, I explained what we found in that tiny room. The servants looked at us in fear and fled from the room.
Ooh, no.
One stayed behind and told our parents that they fled because they feared the banshee had returned. Our parents brushed it off as superstition and tried to calm me down. That is when I noticed that Julie had not said a single word since we left that room. Thinking about what the servant had said, it made sense, and the pieces of the puzzle started to come together. The girl's appearance in the mirror fit the description exactly, and the scream that pierced the silence of the room drove the point home even more. She was the family's banshee, and she had marked Julie for death. The rest of that evening, I kept a close watch on my sister. She refused to eat or drink anything at supper and showed no interest in her toys or books. Her joyful demeanor seemed to have been erased from her body. I would walk by her room and swear that I could hear her screaming. Soon, Mom and Dad started to hear the screams too, and not just from
From
Julie's
where?
room. They could hear them throughout the entire castle.
Go run away from that place.
I even
Go
went to
back
her
to
room to see
America.
if she wanted to play, and noticed that her hair seemed lighter and her eyes blacker. I had to know what was happening
You
to
have
my
to know.
sister. I went to the castle's library and started looking through the
Alone.
books for any clue.
Me, I don't bagger. No room.
Finally, an old dusty family record. I found the answer I sought. The Gallimore family banshee curse was different from the rest. The banshee spirit could rest if she possessed a family member to take her place, and nothing could stop
And your
her
sister
after
have
she
taken her
chose her
place.
prey.
Shock you.
All at once, a scream rang out through the castle so strong that the very stone walls shook. I took off, running towards Julie's room. Mom and Dad were already there, staring in horror into Julie's room. I pushed my way around them, and there stood Julie in the clutches of the banshee. Her screams enveloping Julie in swirling, ghostly mist. Julie's hair had turned completely white, and her eyes, black as coal, were weeping tears of blood. Her face had sunken in and become hollow. The banshee rose off the floor, and as she did, Julie's body slumped to the ground. Her face contorted into a ghastly scream. Julie's spirit floated into the air with the banshee and let out a sharp, piercing cry. As she did so, the banshee's form melded with Julie's spirit, and the new banshee disappeared, leaving us behind with a final scream. Mom and Dad grabbed Julie's lifeless body, and we all now knew why the Gallimore family name was feared throughout Ireland.
Hey.
It is a family secret I wish we had never learned.
Huh? I'm really scared right now. Whoosh. No. Okay, I think I gave this one a I think six or 7, but the other one has to be 8. That will be all for today. So my camera actually have a problem, so I have to use my phone for this record. So thanks for watching that scary movie with me. I'm really not scared. It shocked you, or you expect me to say it's scary? No, it's not actually. Oh, the light looks somehow. The light. Okay, well, please don't forget to subscribe and like and share, and tell me and give a comment and tell me whatever videos you want me to make. Okay, thank you and love.